Hello everybody and welcome to All Cars Every Day's Top 10 Fastest Cars in the World for the year 2019. The list has changed quite a bit from the past year because Koenigsegg has actually verified their runs and lots of new cars have entered the market. Number 10 is the Noble M600. It's not sold in America, but it does come with a 4.4 liter twin-turbo V8. Now this is the slowest car on our list, if you can believe it, at 225 miles per hour. It makes 660 horsepower and 604 pound-feet of torque, so the twin-turbo V8 isn't a slow poke by any means. The 0 to 60 is 3 seconds, and it also costs $450,000, which seems like a lot of money until you see all the other cars on this list. So let's move on. Number 9 is the Zenvo ST1, and it has a twin-charged 6.8 liter V8. Its top speed is 233 miles per hour, so that bests the Noble M600 by a tad. And that twin-charged V8 makes 1,104 horsepower and 1,050 pound-feet of torque. The 0 to 60 is still 3 flat, just like the Noble, but this one costs $1.8 million. And you might be asking, well, why does the Zenvo cost so much? Well, the Zenvo, I think, is limited to 24 examples, so the exclusivity of the car is extremely high. And therefore it's going to have a very high price. But many people have called the reliability into question. Go look at Top Gear's Zenvo ST1 videos. It's funny. Number 8, coming in at number 8 is the Pagani Huayra, and that is how you pronounce it. So now everybody knows, because I know none of you knew how to pronounce it before. Pagani Huayra. It's a twin-turbo 6-liter V12. If I'm not mistaken, it was helped in development by BMW or Mercedes. I can't quite remember which one. I believe it's Mercedes with the Pagani. I believe someone could confirm that it's a Mercedes-inspired 6-liter V12. It goes 238 miles per hour, so 5 miles per hour faster than the Zenvo. It makes 720 horsepower and 738 pound-feet of torque. And the 0 to 60, believe it or not, is 2.8 seconds, even though it makes less power than the Zenvo. The Pagani, however, is $1.4 million, but I could make the argument that it's more deserving of a $1.4 million price tag. It is more of a work of art, and the reliability is not called into question nearly as much as the Zenvo. Number 7, the tried and true classic, McLaren F1. The McLaren F1 was tested at 240.1 miles per hour, and this one is definitely a BMW-inspired 6.1 liter V12. That I know for sure. It makes 618 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque, which doesn't seem like a lot in comparison to every other car on this list. But again, the F1 was made in 1998, and those were massive numbers in 1998. The 0 to 60 reflects the slightly lesser horsepower and torque numbers at 3.2 seconds to 60. And then in 1998, it costed $815,000. So that's probably a million-plus car by the year 2019. The McLaren F1, like I said, tops out at 240.1. Few cars have challenged it, believe it or not, only 6 since 1998. So that just shows you how slowly things move, or how fast the McLaren F was for its time. Moving on to the Koenigsegg CCXR. It's got a 4.8 liter twin supercharged V8. You're going to see a lot of different combinations of superchargers, turbochargers throughout this list. Twin supercharged V8. It's got 1,004 horsepower and 782 pound-feet of torque. The 0 to 60 is 2.9, so you can see the trend going right around 3 seconds. Wait till we get to number 1 and 2. And it costs $2.5 million. Now the CCXR, like I said for the Zenvo, it's extremely limited edition, so they were able to put the $2.5 million price tag on it. Whether it's worth $2.5 million versus a lot of these other cars is up to debate, but I believe Floyd Mayweather bought one for $4,850,000, but it was the CCXR edition Travista. And there's only like a couple of them, maybe one. Plus, that much money is nothing to Floyd Mayweather, as we know. But the CCXR has a top speed of 241, so that just barely bests out the McLaren F1. Moving on, number 5, the Saleen S7 twin turbo. The Saleen S7 came out in 2006 or 2007, right around that range. And it's got a 7-liter twin turbo V8, and that makes it top out at 248 miles per hour. It's got 750 horsepower. It's a Corvette-inspired V8. It's got 750 horsepower, 700 pound-feet of torque. The 0 to 60 is 2.8, and in 2006, it costed $580,000 new. Believe it or not, the Saleen S7s that are on for sale or for sale on eBay and other sites are actually worth more than $580,000. They're selling for almost $1 million now. So the Saleen S7 never actually decreased in value; it only went up. Well, and you can see why. 248 miles per hour is extremely fast, and it's also very rare. Moving on, SSC Ultimate Aero Twin Turbo. Not many of you probably know about this car. It's not known as well, and SSC stands for Shelby Supercars, and they didn't do much after the Ultimate Aero. They made some concept Tuatara, I believe it's called. They kind of petered out after this, but it goes 257 miles per hour, and that is because of a 6.4 liter twin turbo V8. So you can see these twin turbo V8s are really what are getting you this fast. All rear wheel drive cars for the most part. Well, that 6.4 liter V8 makes 1,287 horsepower and 1,112 pound-feet of torque. It also propels it to 60 in 2.7 seconds, which is starting to get sort of on the faster side of things, and at least in terms of acceleration. 3 seconds, as wild as it seems, is kind of slow company in relation to the rest of these. And new in 2006 or 7, or actually I'm not sure when this one came out. The Saleen S7 came out in 2006 or 7. The SSC Ultimate Aero is probably around the same time, but new it was $740,000. You'd be hard pressed to find. There's not even any for sale. There's just not enough of them out there. Number 3, new this year, is the Bugatti Chiron. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. But it's got a quad turbo, 8-liter W16. So I mean it's essentially 2 Volkswagen V8s. Picture a 4-liter V8 mated at the crankshaft to another 4-liter V8. That's literally what it has. Oh, and then throw 4 turbos on it. That's what the Chiron is. Well, as well as the Veyron, which is our next car. But it tops out at 261, which is up to debate. It's limited, governor limited, at 261 miles per hour, although Bugatti claims it can go up to 288 miles per hour. But they don't let customer cars go that fast because they're afraid that the tires are just going to disintegrate, so it's a safety issue. But I can't give it 288 if it hasn't been tested, so we're going to stick with 261 for right now. Bugatti somehow managed to get the Chiron up to 1,479 horsepower and 1,180 pound-feet of torque. The 0-60 is 2.3 seconds, absurdly fast, but it does cost $2.86 million. So $2,860,000 is a lot of money, a ton of money. But I don't know how they just keep eking this much more power and speed out of this engine. It's been around for a decade. The Veyron SS is our number 2 spot. It goes 267.7 miles per hour. Same 8-liter quad turbo W16. Not as revised as the Chirons, obviously, but it does go faster. It's got 1,184 horsepower and 1,100 pound-feet in this application. The 0-60 is actually slower than the Chiron at 2.4 seconds, but at the time when the Veyron Supersport came out, it was $2.4 million. And now to our number 1 spot, the fastest production car in the world, newly as of November 2017, is the Koenigsegg Agera R, and it goes 277.9 miles per hour. They closed down an 11-mile stretch of Nevada highway just to be able to do this top speed run, and it went 284 miles per hour in one direction, but to be the fastest tested production car, you have to go both ways, one with the wind and one against the wind. And so it did it both ways and averaged 277.9, which puts it solidly ahead of the Veyron Supersport's 267.7. Now, the Agera R is a twin-turbo V8. Heard that before. It makes a 1,140 horsepower and 885 pound-feet of torque. The 0-60 is 2.8. Believe it or not, all those numbers are lesser than even the Chiron or Veyron SS, but it makes do with more. And the Veyron and Chiron are all-wheel drive as well. So it is interesting how they did that. Must be aerodynamics. The Bugattis are built like bricks. I don't know. But the Agera R costs $2.1 million. So that about rounds it out for this episode of All Cars Every Day. I hope you enjoyed listening to the top 10 fastest cars in the world for the year 2019. Subscribe and like for more videos just like this. We even have daily car news. May not be the most exciting cars all the time, but it should be sure to keep you interested. Thanks for watching.